Hi, everyone. I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out they're autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. Today's episode, I thought I would do one on things I don't understand. I was doing something yesterday and then I caught myself having a judgmental thought. And then that got me thinking about all the other judgmental thoughts that I have. And I was wondering, are they judgmental or are they just just not understanding why people don't use common sense with some stuff? I don't know. But I know that there's people out there. I know that there's some of you out there that have thought these things and maybe haven't heard somebody else say them out loud. There's probably some of you who are like, I do that. Why is that weird? I'm not trying to offend anybody. These are just things that I myself do not understand. And some of them I've been mulling over for years and I still don't get it. So I made a list. I'll just get into it. And hopefully somebody out there can relate to some of this. So the first thing is, I do not understand people who don't follow oven cook time instructions. And I told my wife I was going to mention her because she does this. So she'll get something to make in the oven and then she'll immediately turn it on to what it's supposed to cook at and then pop the food right in there. And I have told her so many times, that's not how you cook something frozen. You turn the oven on to whatever number it needs to be on. You wait for the timer, which tells you that it's fully heated up. Then you pop the thing in, and in whatever number of minutes it's supposed to be done, it'll be done. And so she'll put stuff in the way that she does it, and then sometimes she'll check multiple times to see if something's done and it's not. And I do not understand this. I'm clearly on the box, it says heat the oven to 450 and then you put the thing in for however many minutes. And so that's what I do. I don't understand why. I mean, she's probably not the only one that doesn't do that, but I get it's a patience thing, but aren't you wasting your time going back and looking at the food multiple times to try to guess to see if it's done? If I follow the instructions on the box, it's always done when my timer goes off. And something else I don't understand is why on the backs of these boxes do the cook times say things like 11 to 13 minutes? Well, to me, that means 12 minutes. So why don't you just say 12? That's how I read it. I don't read 11, 12, or 13 minutes. I read, well, if it's 11 to 13, 12 makes sense. I don't know. But I have to say that every time I follow the instructions and I go and I look at the food, the very first time it's cooked, I don't have to keep going back. Just saying. In college, when was this? Almost 15 years ago, something like that. 12 years ago, I don't know. But back when I went, I don't know what it's like now. The professors all used the PowerPoint slide things for people to learn. And that was just when people were starting to bring laptops to classes and taking notes on them that way. But a good portion of us still used pen and paper. And I was one of those. For whatever reason, I just can't work on my laptop. Everything has to go on paper first. So why would the professors be okay, you need to know this information that's on these slides, and then they just blow through them? They don't give you enough time to copy down what's on the slide. Some of them didn't even have anything go online to this place and here's a copy of the slides or whatever. They didn't do any of that shit. So you had to hope that you could either write or type real fast and get the information down. So that's what I would do, is I would just scribble as fast as I could. But I don't get why they always flipped through them super quick, yet they told you to get everything down. That was just stupid. When it comes to the weather, how can you say mostly sunny one day and then partly cloudy another day? Because mostly sunny and partly cloudy sound like the same thing to me. So, like, what's the difference? If it's mostly sunny, that means it's partly cloudy. If it's partly cloudy, that means it's mostly sunny, right? Like, am I, like, not understanding that the right way or something? Ceiling fans, I just don't get them. Like, I think that's just a me thing, maybe. But, like, when I see a ceiling fan, like we have one in the bedroom, I do not fucking use that thing. I have never used that fucking ceiling fan because in my mind, like, I can't imagine going to sleep underneath this huge metal contraption with blades that, like, what if it falls off of the ceiling in the middle of the night and then, like, chops me up or something, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just have these visions of, like, ceiling fans that are on falling on me and then, like, cutting me up. I don't know. I don't understand ceiling fans. I do. I know why they're useful. I know what their purpose is. I just don't like them. That's why they make fans that go on the ground and plug into a wall. Just saying. On Netflix, when you first go on, like, there's this thing that says, it's like a surprise me button under your profile picture. So it's like, surprise me, and you'll click on it and it picks something for you to watch. Who the fuck does that? Like, how do you go on Netflix or any channel or streaming service for that matter? How do you go on there and not know what you want to watch? Like, to me, hitting surprise me is the stupidest thing, because that means that, like, well, I don't know what I want to watch, so Netflix can pick it for me and maybe I'll find whatever it is interesting. Like, that's such a waste of time. Do you know how much research I do on these shows that I watch? I go on IMDb, I look at the comments, I look at the rating, I make my decision based on that most of the time. So no, I don't want to just have them surprise me. Like, I have specific shows in my list that I plan on watching, and only things that, like, are not going to waste my time go in my list. Laugh tracks, do they still do that? I don't really watch comedy shows because they just aren't the same as, like, the ones that I saw when I grew up. Like, I liked those ones better. But, like, do people still use laugh tracks? Like, I want to say that, what was that show on Netflix? That one that had Ashton Kutcher in it. It was like a country one. I don't remember the name, but, like, I'm pretty sure that that was a laugh track. I could be wrong, but, like, I'm pretty sure I remember there somewhere saying, and it even sounded like a laugh track. It didn't sound like actual people. Why is that being used? Like, you have to cue people in on when they're supposed to laugh. It's stupid. What else? When people go to, so, like, my favorite sport is MMA, and I don't understand why people will pay, like, those tickets are not cheap, especially if you want good seats. It's like $1,000 and up. Why do people pay that much money to go to a sporting event and you can't see very well? Like, it doesn't matter if you're right next to the ring. You can't get a clear view of what's going on inside because you have the fence to look through, all the little holes in the fence. And it's always been the weirdest thing to me because, like, my favorite spot to watch these fights is at home in front of the TV. I can see everything going on inside the ring. Why would I want to pay all that money to go to the sporting event, sit next to the ring, still miss things, have to be surrounded by loud and drunk people? That doesn't sound like a good time to me. And I never get why, like, I understand concerts, or, like, who calls them that anymore? Shows. I understand that. Like, going to shows and wanting to see your favorite band live. Like, to me, that's a different experience. Because, I mean, music's like a whole special interest. So, like, to me, going to a show to enjoy music is different than going to a sporting event and not getting, like, that great of a view no matter where you sit. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Um, what else did I have down here? Oh, why people have pictures of their family at work. No offense to anybody out there who does. But seriously, like, why do people have pictures of their family at work? Like, what is that for? Is it for inspiration when you get bored or something? Is it because you're afraid that you're going to forget what they look like in the span of the 8 hours you're supposed to be at your job? Are you trying to like show off your family in some way? Do you want other people to ask questions about the people in your pictures? I've never ever had pictures of like anybody at work because like none of your business. And also I don't want questions about who these people are. And I don't know. I mean, like when I used to be an addictions counselor, it was just kind of like a given. You do not have pictures of anybody you know in your office because like you're treating addicts. And, you know, like I don't know how to say this. I'm not trying to like, I love addicts. I loved what I did. I loved those people, but you just can't have a lot of personal, I don't know how to explain it. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, moving right along, hospital gowns. I was reminded of this last month when I had my surgery. Who the fuck made hospital gowns? Like, who thought that was a good idea? You know, like some doctors want you to open it and have it open in the front. Some of them say have it open in the back. The ones that want it open in the back, there's strings back there for you to try to tie so it stays on your body somehow. I don't know how you can tie without looking. Like, I can't tie those strings. I can't even really reach them that well. It's the weirdest fucking thing I have ever seen. Like, I don't know, like maybe they seem normal to other people, but I don't get that. They just are weird. No matter how you wear them, you're always like really exposing some part of your body that you don't want to, no matter how much you tie it or, you know, whatever. Those are stupid. Heels. What the fuck is the point of heels? Why would somebody put their foot in these tiny ass little shoes and then put like a ginormous stick at the end of it and then walk irregularly and then wonder why you get foot problems? Like, and you're uncomfortable. And like, who came up with this idea that these were good shoes to wear? I mean, fashion, I get fashion, but like seriously, you're gonna fuck your feet up before you're like 40 or something. Like if you keep wearing these heels, and then what are you gonna do? Heels they're just so stupid. No offense to anybody who wears them, obviously. If anybody has seen the show Alone, please tell me that I am not the only one that doesn't understand why these people don't immediately start working on their shelters. Like immediately, like you get dropped off and you probably just ate something like an hour ago. So you've got your energy, you've got all your calories, the stuff that you need. Why is it that these people, like some of them do, I guess, but the majority of them, they don't just get their shelter up right away. They start looking for food and stuff. And to me, like, I know I'm not an expert. They probably do know what they're doing. But just for me, I would think that if it was me being dropped off in the middle of someplace, the first thing I would do is I would build my shelter. No matter how elaborate I want to make it, that is my goal. While I have the energy to do it, is to get that fucking shelter up. And then I will start hardcore looking for food. And it seems like they do it like backwards. Like they look for food first and then they kind of slowly work at their shelter. And then the next thing you know, winter's hit and they're fucked. Some of them. That's always baffled me. How can you lose weight? Like, where does it go? How do you lose it? I've never liked that term. I use it because that's the only one I know. But like, you can't lose weight. Like, I don't know. I mean, when you lose something, don't you usually want it back? I don't want that back. I don't understand small talk. I don't even have to explain that because I know you guys understand this one. And I don't understand mean people. I never will. I do know why people do the things they do. Like, I know the whole, like, family systems thing. I just still, like, despite knowing what makes people become negative versions, like, I get all of that. I don't understand why people have to be mean. Like, there's no sense in that. Speeding tickets. So, like, when somebody gets a speeding ticket and they, like, were legit speeding, why do they go to court and try to fight it? I've never gotten that. Like, I've gotten a speeding ticket, like, years ago, and I paid whatever the fine was because I sped. They caught me. I paid the fine. I knew that was the consequence of getting caught. But, like, why do people get caught and then try to fight it? Like, I don't, just pay the fucking fine. You sped. You broke the law. Like, take ownership. This is going to make me sound like an asshole, but on those reality shows like Survivor or Big Brother, like when somebody becomes head of household and they cry because they miss their family. So, like, you've seen those moments on TV, hopefully. And so, like, you'll be on Survivor for like 2 weeks and then they get like letters from home and they all start bawling. And I'm sitting here like, why the fuck are they sad? Like, they just saw their family 2 weeks ago. Like, why are you crying so hard? You're going to see them again in like a month. Maybe I just am an asshole, but like, because everybody does this on any show I have ever seen, that they're away from family for like at least a month. Like, they fucking cry when they see a video or they get a phone call or they read a letter from home. And I'm like, why are you that upset? I guess that might have to also do with the fact that, like, I was in the military. It was nothing for me to be separated from people I knew for years. Like, so that probably is where that comes from, but it's still strange to me. Something else I don't understand is, why do people pick boring baby names? Why are you still naming your child Susan and Bob and Mike and Steve and Sarah? Like, do you know what year we're in? Like, those are boring fucking names. Like, I know that the celebrities got crap when, like, they were naming their kids things like Apple. But isn't that more interesting than, like, Mary? I'd rather be called Apple than Mary. Yeah, so, like, with all of these, all of the languages, all of the words, all of the choices that people have for naming their children, and they still go with things like Steve, Michelle. Like, come on, man. Get creative. The word colonel? It's spelled Colonel. Why is it pronounced colonel? Because there's no R in that word. I don't know the reason. I've been too lazy to look it up. I usually forget to. I've been wondering this for years. Even when I was in the military. Why do you say it like colonel when there is no fucking R in that word? Nothing in that word comes close to sounding like an R. It should be like colonel or colonel or something like that. Not colonel. There's no R there. Something else I don't understand, and I know that you guys will get this, is Amazon's waste of packaging. Why the hell do they send me? They sent me some chapstick. I ordered, like, because my wife likes that old-fashioned, like, cherry chapstick. That's her favorite. So, like, around Christmas, I'll order, like, the pack of 3 because that'll last her the whole year. And then I put it in her stocking. And so, like, they sent me that yesterday, and it was in this, like, big bag. It's a waste of packaging. They'll send something the same size in a box. Like, I have never, ever gotten anything from Amazon that came in, like, appropriately sized packaging. It's always, like, so wasteful. And they're, like, billions of dollars. How can you not afford, like, better packaging? Or, like, don't you have people that know how to, like, do you know what I mean? I hate getting a ginormous box with like one tiny thing in there. Like, yeah, okay, like it's going to go into the recyclables, whatever, but like it is so unnecessary. It is so wasteful. Anyways, the phrase have a good one. What is a good one? Have a good what? Like my wife says it means have a good day. Then why don't you just say have a good day? Why do people say have a good one? I never knew what one meant. Have a good what? Drive? Dinner? I don't know. People still say that and I hate it. Have a good one. Go fuck off. Are soft drinks soft? Why are they called soft drinks? I don't think liquid is soft. What else do I have? Oh, like, why do people fall asleep when they're watching TV? That's always baffled me. I mean, you aren't aware enough to know that, like, you're getting tired and you should probably go to bed, but instead you just fall asleep on the couch and several episodes go by, unless you're watching Netflix, and then it just shuts off after like 3 or 4 hours. But how do you just like fall asleep while you're watching TV? Like, don't you care that you'll miss stuff? How are you going to remember what episode you were on? It's just weird to me. Like, I have never done that. I have never just like, oh, I'm watching this show. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, here I go. I'm going to fall asleep and not turn the TV off. I've never fucking done that. I don't want to miss nothing. Remember, I spent all that time researching that show. I'm not going to just fall asleep in front of it. Oh, man. Oh, and why do people start like my wife is one of these people. She does not mind, like, if there's 6 seasons of a show, she doesn't care if she starts watching at season 3 and she hasn't seen the first 2 seasons. But she'll start at season 3 and she'll just keep going. And what the fuck? How can you do that? You just missed 2 seasons of story. You know, and like for me, if I find a show that sounds interesting, I'll go and I'll look for it. And, you know, sometimes they only have like a few seasons available, but they don't have like the first couple for whatever reason. I'm not going to watch that show unless I have access to the very first episodes. I'm not going to just start watching something in the middle of it because I need to know what's going on. I need to know who these characters are. Like, that's just weird to me that people do that. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. That's all I wrote down that I could think of. I'm probably going to do more episodes like this because there are so many things I just don't understand. And I know I can't be the only one that doesn't get them. But anyways, hopefully this was a little bit more lighthearted and relatable. Oh, you know what? One more thing I don't understand, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. How do people listen to podcast episodes out of order? So the reason why I say the same thing at the beginning and the end of each episode is because, like, I noticed that people are not listening in order. So, like, I'm not sure, like, does that mean they just tried one and they're like, no thanks? Well, I know it's not just that. There's, like, people that, like, will look for the word sensory, and then I think the episode pops up and then they watch it, or not watch it, they listen to it. And then, like, another episode that's, like, down the line, they'll listen to that. Like, how is it that people listen out of order? I have never done that. It seems weird to me. So that's why I say the same thing at the beginning and the end, because, like, I might get, like, a random person listening to a random episode. Maybe they're just like, oh, let's see if this is worth listening to. Or maybe people just really only listen to, like, a couple episodes of a podcast about a certain subject that person's covering and then move on. Like, I don't know. My view is pretty limited. Like, I'm autistic, so I just assume that everybody is going to want to go in order, so that they don't miss anything. But maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, that's it. So here's my ending. This was just me recording to an app on my phone, hoping people find me and listen and relate, have a similar experience to the one I had when I heard myself on somebody else's podcast. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.